How would you like that to shake out in terms of Tyler's position and potential Tyler coming back?
It's interesting you bring up Tyler. At the end of the day, we had a player through here, one of the greatest to play in the offensive line in the NFL, Larry Allen. And he was one of those guys who, when he did play, jumped out and played left tackle. I think he played 1 year and maybe a second, maybe at right. But, he could have played anywhere. But he was a tremendous guard that he seemed to always find his way back to guard because he was so good at it. Certainly Tyler had an amazing year. I saw where he just got named to the Pro Bowl, well-deserved. But, he's just one of those guys who, you look for versatility in draft picks when you take it. I don't care if you're an offensive lineman, whether you're a receiver who can play inside or out, whether you're a DB who can play safety, corner, nickel. Versatility is huge. And he brings that to the table here, and we're lucky to have him. And then we'll just, see where the cards fall in terms of, our full body of work and our holistic view of our roster in terms of, ultimately the decisions that we have to make. Some of them will be hard, some of them will be obvious, but we're in the middle of that right now, so it's hard to get into a lot of detail as where someone's going to end up. I just spoke to Tyler because he's so versatile. Obviously, Tyron, I think, is coming off a great year, and he did a great job, and we just have to see how all that comes together in terms of, as I said, our holistic view of our roster.
Do you want to bring Tyron back? Did he play well enough to get another year?
Yeah, you want to bring you want to bring a lot of them back. Now, there's also there's reality. There's the salary cap, and you got to start to really make decisions. We've let players go before that the money got too high, and then we got 4 players for them that we were better off for. And so those are the things that you measure. So you just can't. I'm not going to be able to answer any questions. Do you want him back? Yes. Do you want him back? Yes. But does it mean we can? No. So I don't know, and I'm not going to speak to specific guys.
Well, last year you were very unequivocal about Dak. You want him to be a quarter for the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, with his contract being 59, being a cap hit, and how you guys over the cap, how do you adjust that contract? Is it time to do an extension now?
Like I said, I won't get into any details. Everybody knows what we think of Dak. You just said it. There's a lot of things that we have to look at holistically. We're right in the middle of our evaluation process. There's been no decisions made in terms of, you mentioned certain players. Does he come back? Does he come back? Obviously, Dak's our quarterback.
So the options with Dak, let it play out, get an extension?
Like I said, no details.
When Jerry was speaking with us, he addressed the need to improve both running the football and stopping the run.
Very fair.
You guys brought in Mazi to help with the latter.
Mm-hmm.
Despite being healthy, he plays 4 snaps against the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't ready as a rookie to take on the role maybe initially envisioned. What does he need to do this offseason to get him to where you guys are comfortable in a more prominent role?
I just think he needs to continue on an arc of continuing to get better. And, we knew when we drafted him we were going to ask him to do something different than he was doing at Michigan. He was playing in a square stance and, two-gapping and playing the run. And, Dan wants those guys to be more versatile. And, I just think it's, part of developing as a player. Some guys, they're unique and they step right in and they play right away. But it sure doesn't mean, because a guy comes along a little more the second year after having a solid first year. I get it that he only played 4 snaps, but, as it turns out, we had, I think, 90 offensive snaps and less than 60 defensive snaps. So, it was, that game's a tough one to really evaluate on other than, we didn't get the job done, and it's one of the more disappointing losses we've had since, we've owned the team.
Between that arc for him, weight, he got lighter
Mm-hmm.
your win.
I think those are all things that play into, your process and developing as a player. And I think he's trying to find just the right spot where he wants to be. We'll work with him on that. And we got nothing but great thoughts and what he can be for us in terms of playing a big role in how we get better, stopping the run on the defensive side of the ball.
What do you do differently this offseason to get a better result in the playoffs? Is it with Mike this last year? Are you guys all in and just?
I mean, we're always all in this day and time. I mean, we've been that way for 3 or 4 years. We put 3 12-5 seasons together. We think we're close. Coach McCarthy's been very successful in the playoffs at Green Bay. He knows what it takes to, have success in the playoffs. Obviously, we hadn't done it here, but we think we're really close. And, those are all the things that go into the holistic evaluation of what this football team's all about. But we certainly think we're close. As I said, I think we've won more football games, regular season football games, over the last 3 years than any team in the NFL, including the Super Bowl winners. So, but that doesn't, that's no answer to how do you have success in the playoffs. That's something we've got to continue to grind on and look for the way to ultimately get over that hump and have the success that our fans deserve, that everybody deserves who are part of the Cowboys or support the Cowboys.
When you look at your evaluation so far, what's your evaluation of the running game and how it came out of this season? What do you kind of feel like there's some?
I think Jerry said it best. We have to be better. One of the things you see in the playoffs of the teams that have success game in and game out, they run the ball well. And, we got to be better at it. We've had good running football teams here. We think we can be better. And same holds true for the defense. We've got to be able, comes playoff time, you got to be able to stop the run. And we've got to get better in both those areas, no secret. And, we'll obviously get in a room, grind it out, and figure out the best way to get that accomplished.
Young legs, fresh legs, cheap legs. What does the draft as an opportunity to address the run game mean to this team?
I think the draft is something we've always looked forward to. Certainly we had we had the injury with Overshown that hurt. We thought his arc was heading up. Obviously Ferguson steps up in a big way, and Schoonmaker probably didn't get the opportunities, but we feel great about him. I look at the draft as an opportunity that we have a lot of confidence that we can have success in doing the things that we feel like can make us better as a football team.
There's a perception about this particular draft class that with only 58 underclassmen entering it, the depth in day 3, it's not what it typically is. Do you see it the same?
You just want to rise above that. I mean, like I said, we're right in the middle of the evaluation process. You point out a great fact, which is the number of juniors coming out have been greatly reduced, and certainly that's a fact. But, at the same time, sometimes that leads to more prospects that are more well-developed that stayed in school, whether it be last year, whether it be this year going forward. We just got to go do our homework. That's why we're here in Mobile. That's why we'll have great representation at the Shriner Bowl, there in Frisco. And, it's back to the grind. And, we just feel like we're very close and certainly understand the frustration, with our fans in terms of what their expectations are. And but we do feel like we've got a lot of great football players to build around. In general, we're a young team. And I feel like this team can zero us up, and we've got a great opportunity to not only go have another great regular season, but then have success in the playoffs.
You mentioned the word holistic multiple times in terms of your view of the team. Hearing that word a bit, what can you maybe help me understand just kind of what that means and what does that look like?
It's why it's real hard to answer a question about a player in particular when you're taking a overall view of your team. You've got to make some hard decisions in some areas, and then you might be more aggressive in other areas. And does that, in our mind, make us feel good about that's going to make us better, not only to repeat what we've done in the regular season, but then take the next step in the postseason. And I think you have to look at it as a whole. You have to put the draft into the mix. What's it going to be like? You have to look at the players you want to keep, the players you want to make some hard decisions on, and then, are there ways that you, just like we did last year, it wasn't necessarily free agency, it was trades. It was, trading for Cooks, trading for Gilmore. We thought they really did a nice job for us this year and made us better, but we've got, those are things that you put it all together and say, who are the guys available for trade? Who are the guys that we could do well in free agency with? Who are the guys, would we rather just keep these young players, that we have? So you have to look at the big picture. You can call it big picture. You can look at full body of work. You can call it holistic.
Right.
There's a lot of terms for it, but it's hard to, especially this time of year. It'll come upon us. It'll come upon us here when free agency starts, and we have to, have the cap situation where we want it. But that's why we're not there yet, and why we'll continue to have great dialogue amongst the decision makers on this football team.
Is this holistic approach different than past years? Because we openly talked about deals for Dak and CD and those guys last year, right?
I just don't think it does any good to talk about people's business. Just doesn't do any good to talk publicly about it. We need to have our business, whether it's a Dak, whether it's a CD, whether it's a Micah, whether it's a Tyron, whether it's whoever it may be. I don't think it does anybody any good to air the business, publicly.
The need to, at the start of the league year.
No, it doesn't help you, but
well,
no, any of y'all.
But it's common knowledge that Dak's deal is something.
We don't. Then why do we need to address it? We can address it internally, not externally. Not with you, and not with Gelkin, and not with Scott. We'll do that internally. How's that?
With the March start of the league year approaching, still several weeks away, but the need to get the cap to where you guys didn't want it to be. What's, without me saying specifics, but what does that road look like for you guys to get that done? And do you need to do something with Dak's contract?
There's a lot of roads to it, but yes, we feel really good about our cap situation.
Because you're over the cap, like 14 to 19.
What have I always said about the cap? We feel good.
Okay.
I think fans' frustration, the narrative comes from going into training camp with the same thing that kind of came out of the Green Bay game. It was, bringing back McCarthy if Dan Quinn was able to be retained. Where can you give confidence to fans that things can be different in the postseason next year?
Let's start with understand why the fans are frustrated, because we have had 3 good years at 12-5, and we have had major disappointments in the postseason. So until we do something about it, which is go have another great year and have success in the playoffs, and that's going to be there. I mean, there's no way they're going to explicitly trust you until you get it done. Would someone trust Tom Brady and the Patriots that they're going to get it done? Yeah. Why? Because they did it year in and year out. Does someone trust Mahomes in Kansas City that they're going to do it? Why? Because they do it 6 years in a row. They're in the championship game. Until we compete at that level and we get the job done, then there's going to be doubt, and rightfully so.
And just to piggyback on that, you know how when you brought up those teams, you brought up the quarterback, which is why we always go back to.
We love our quarterback. It's well documented what we think about our quarterback.
Okay.
Where do you kind of see an opportunity to take that next step in y'all's evaluation so far?
Excuse me?
Where have y'all seen an opportunity to take
That's what we're doing right now. That's what we're right in the middle of our evaluation. As I said, player acquisition's 365 days a year. I mean, the piece that makes last year, obviously, if you were to say what made people feel good, well, you made some trades for some veteran guys that, people, I see that. I see how that can help them. I mean, those will be things that we move forward to. And then, there's things, we get Diggs back to go with Bland. Well, you get Overshown back. Well, we've got some other young players on IR that, we think can make a big difference. I mean, all those are things, but it's still not going to ultimately be the answer to the fan that says, why should I do that? Until we go do it, you're going to have fans who question you or people who question you, and that's fair. We accept that.
And you look at roster turnover, over a quarter of your active roster from this past season is pending free agents. Do you kind of see free agency being an opportunity to do that as well?
Yeah, I mean, it all, like, where y'all at with it, but it's the overall look, the holistic view of the roster, and we've got to decide, where the values are, and it's not just, hey, is this guy better than that guy? It's, is this guy at this price better for our team than this guy at this price? That's what we have to, make a decision on. And obviously we think we've got top people, whether it's Jerry, whether it's our coaching staff, whether it's Will McClay's staff, whether it's myself. I mean, we're all going to be in there knowing that the ultimate goal is you got to start with getting in the tournament, but then how do we ultimately take the next step and have success in the playoffs? And we accept that that's a question mark that our fans don't necessarily say, you've got the answer. Until we go get it done, there'll be those questions.
When you look at this draft class, do you kind of see a priority to have more physicality coming out of this draft class?
We always want to be physical. I'd be hard pressed to think if you ask Mike McCarthy or Dan Quinn or Bones, you want to be you don't you'd rather be finesse than physical. I don't think you'd hear him say that.
Brock Hoffman appeared at center some last year. TJ Bass, he developed it a bit of practice, but still working that way.
And he got game time. I mean, TJ did.
Yeah.
And I thought TJ did a nice job when he got his opportunities.
Do you believe the center of your starting center in 2024 is on the
same thing. I don't want to speculate. I mean, obviously Tyler did a great job for us playing center, and we've got young guys who we believe have the potential to do something in that area, but we'll have to take the overall view of things and then make decisions, based on what we think is the best route for us to go. And obviously, like any business, money comes into play on that, and then what's the guy's talent, and, does the guy have upside? I mean, those are all things that we'll have to measure. But in a vacuum, we don't have we're not going to say we're definitely going to do this, or this. It's all going to affect. It's like dominoes. It affects everything.
It's still January as we're talking. It's unreasonable for us to expect you to have all the answers about how this thing's going to play out, what this thing's going to look like.
Yeah, we don't know who's going to be in free agency. We don't know. We hadn't evaluated the draft prospects. I mean, of course you can't know.
Right. What's the process in terms of, your guys' meetings, to have a firm of a plan for what you want to do with the CD, what you want to do with the Micah, what you want to do with the Dak, and so forth?
Those are ongoing. I mean, they're no different than any other off season. You grind it out. You get in meetings. You have meetings with your coaching staff. You have meetings with your scouting staff. You have meetings here at the Senior Bowl. You have meetings at the Combine. It's just constant. So those are all things that we'll be doing over the coming weeks and months.